And we are back to Elevate Paso, guys. And I'm super excited about this interview. This is one of those interviews that really has intrigued me. We are of that mentality, or oftentimes we find people with that mentality that says that you need to go to school, you need to get a job, you need to work hard, and have that same structured routine that lately millennials have seemed to be breaking. Today we find ourselves with Alex Olivas. How are you, Alex?
Pretty good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Alex, better known as Lavish, is actually an influencer, and he's a millennial that has, shown us an example of how that mold, that old mold of working, is now being broken. Alex has been the founder of several companies that are internet-based, doing marketing, and has now broken a six-figure income, and is just at the age of 22. Alex, I'm super intrigued about this. This is one of those things that demonstrates how there is a new way of working, there is a new trend in society. Tell us a little bit about what your mentality is, but first of all, start off by telling our audience about your schooling and what happened to that. You were going to be a doctor, bro.
Yeah. So pretty much like back when I was 17, I found out that I was actually going to get a full ride scholarship to UTEP. And at that time, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So what I did, I kind of I went online. I remember going to my high school library and researching like what's the highest paying job in the U.S. Because in my mind, I was like, I want to be at the top. I only get one life. I'm gonna shoot. I'm gonna go all out. So I went and I researched, and it was actually like to be an anesthesiologist. Making like 300,000 a year or something like that. So, I was kind of set to be that, and, even that same summer, I went to a camp at Texas Tech Medical University here, and so I went to that, and it was just kind of, feeling the vibe to be a doctor and all that. But during that time, I actually found out these, I discovered these guys, they were actually really young guys, like around my age at the time, even younger, and these guys were making like crazy money online. They were making like, some of them like hundreds of thousands of dollars online, some of them even millions online. And so, I started getting intrigued and yeah, just kind of discovering this, like discovering them kind of like
Change your perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And just made me, I just tapped into a whole nother world that's, obviously possible. So after I did that, I came across this one guy, and all he does is post on Instagram, and he's a millionaire. So I actually, I got really interested by that, because at the time, and even till this day, a lot of people just use Instagram to kind of, put their life out there, their outfits, their selfies, whatever it is. But to me, it was kind of interesting how, this guy was making so much money just on Instagram. So I went ahead and bought his course. And after I bought his course, I learned a lot of his strategies that he used to like grow Instagram. And I implemented it to some of my accounts. And, through that and through like using some of my own strategies, I was able to kind of build like pretty big pages. And my first one, I had a men's fashion page and a women's fashion page. I chose those because those were niches that were, I knew there was like products to be sold, online products. I know there was going to be a lot of stores and a lot of demand for, publicity. So I went ahead and I just focused on the men's fashion page, because obviously, I'm a guy, I'm more interested in that kind of stuff. So I grew that page up to about almost 400,000 followers, and and I sold like ads and everything to international men's fashion companies and all that. So I did that for a while. Then yeah, just kind of through that time I was kind of keeping my eyes open, and saw here in my city a market gap between how people were advertising here and how people were spreading the word and using Instagram as a whole.
So this isn't something that was just a dream. This isn't something that it was just a crazy teenage idea. This is something that has turned out to be something solid for him. You have now El Paso Best
Yeah.
and the other page.
Yeah, I have a couple pages here locally, ELP Mag and El Paso Official as well, and they're all part of the El Paso Best Network.
And through these pages, you're now expanding your network and influencing in El Paso and earning your income this way.
Correct.
Tell me about this. Tell me what your strategy is. How do you approach business? What's your philosophy? How do you talk to customers? Tell me about it.
Yeah, so when I was starting in business, I would, pretty much be thinking, okay, so I'm gonna start a business and it's gonna work because it's a business and I have a great idea and I'm gonna see how I could make as much money as I can. But when I was about 17 and started with the whole business thing and being online and helping like market online and all that, I was more concentrated on how I could acquire clients, make money and all that. But throughout the years, since then till where I'm at now, through experience and all that, I was able to realize like through giving value first, and focusing on giving value and creating something that's not seeing like, oh, how can I benefit the most out of it, but how can my clients, how can my customers benefit the most out of it, then just a win-win situation pretty much as far as that. So yeah, pretty much to answer your question, just kind of being able to provide value to people and to business owners, networking with the right people, being able to help them however I can.
And that's very interesting, guys, because now we do see a different structure of business, perhaps a different platform in which to do business. But the philosophy, I mean, that's an ancient philosophy. Do good to others and they'll do good to you. It's the golden rule. And aside from the golden rule, I've now had several of interviews with some of the more traditional successful businessmen, and the answer is the same. You make sure it's always a win-win situation. So the philosophy seems to still be successful, but the structure is different. So it seems that Alex has found a way to first get to know your client. So it's not so much the product, but the actual business, right? The identity and who their audience is. So there's a rapport there. And you identify problems that you could solve. So it seems like, again, the philosophy is the same, but what's unique about this is that you are doing it in such a way that is approachable. You talk about how it's not so much just throwing logos, not burning yourself out. So there is a strategy that is uniform all throughout. How do you determine what this uniformity should be? How do you know how to approach each audience?
So pretty much I would say just kind of like your content, because when you're on Instagram, the content you put out, if it's your stories, if it's your post, that's your product. If you see it like from a business perspective, when you're on Instagram, you're pretty much a business owner. How can you make your product, which is your content, stand out from the rest of the competition? And how are you going to get the right traffic to that post, which is, like I said, is pretty much your product.
And so what's excellent about this is that you have found a way to humanize a brand. So you talk about using humor, you talk about using the emotions as if the brand is the one putting and making that rapport with the audience. And I think that's the key, and that was what we should take as an example from you. Mr. Lavish, it's been a pleasure. Can you give us any last advice, any last words before we let you go?
Yeah, man. Always kind of, be open-minded, never be closed-minded, and always be out there to, help others, and you'll see that you'll be able to achieve great success like that.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Appreciate you.